Now, I know I don't review animated shows too often, but when something looks like it might be of general interest, I try to check it out. The new Netflix original series, Centaurworld, is a random helping of silliness and song. But is it worth binging? A hardened warhorse transported away from battle finds herself in a land that's inhabited by silly, singing centaurs of all shapes and sizes. Horse and rider, those are their names, are in a precarious battle trying to get an amulet to their general. An accident happens and Horse is mysteriously transported to another world with the amulet and now has to figure out how to get back to the war, Rider, and her world. Horse finds herself in a world that is full of centaurs. Everything is a centaur. There's a tree, it's got 4 legs and a tree head. That zebra over there, well, it's got a torso to go along with the animal body. It's a colorfully odd mix and takes more than a minute to absorb it all. The animation in this makes it look like it's a kid's show. And while littles could enjoy the bright colors and even the catchy tunes, the themes and story are fairly dark, and I think they're really directed at more of a mature audience. I'm not saying this is made specifically for adults, but it's certainly got the elements that will go right over the younger audience's heads. But you know what? The teens and adults, they can enjoy the nuances. And this is also a musical show. So much of the exposition is given through song. And I gotta say that they're executed extremely well. The music and lyrics are both catchy and melodic, and sometimes they sound like they belong in a Disney movie. Several times the songs are also quite dark in tone. They're there to help propel the story forward by giving a great deal of detail and context in a rather short amount of time. Sometimes the songs also feel like they belong in the Broadway musical Wicked because of how the songs are structured and even with the harmonies that are created. The voice actors do a phenomenal job in their singing, and then it really creates this captivating environment. Now, the show is quite random. The level of absurdity is just cranked up to 11, with so much of it being a fever dream of bizarre randomness. But surprisingly, it all fits within the story, and it ends up enhancing the journey the characters are on. And the characters are uniquely odd as well. Each of them have their own quirks that are at times annoying and other times endearing. Wamawink, who's kind of this llamatar, is an absolute control freak, but also is a fiercely protective friend and leader. Glendale is a kleptomaniac deertar who sounds like they are nervously constipated just all the time. And while stealing is bad, in this show, the trait becomes pretty useful. Zulius is self-absorbed, but his flair for the dramatic is both funny and sometimes touching. And Chet is the tough guy with the not-so-hidden soft side. He pretends not to like Horse, but you can tell that there is respect and concern for the new addition to their herd. Durpleton is this giraffe-tar who I think is one of the best characters in the show. He's gentle and naive. And you could call him dumb because that's how he comes across, but I think it's more of a simple and kind spirit that he has. The dynamic between all the creatures is quite funny. This herd, tribe, or family, it's pretty close-knit, and the addition of Horse creates good story conflict, especially in the first several episodes where she is in this fish-out-of-water scenario. As the characters go on their journey to help Horse return home, parts of the show feel like The Wizard of Oz mixed with The Fellowship of the Ring and then sprinkled with Futurama, but with farts and unpredictability. And there are 10 episodes in this first season, and each hovers right around 26 minutes. And they go by fast, which makes this a really quick binge. The songs, they also help to keep the pace moving nicely. And when I watched the first episode, I was intrigued, but I was also kind of twitching because I wasn't sure how much of the show that I was going to be able to endure. But as the episodes went along, I became more and more invested in the characters and their quest. And I began to look forward to the songs, and I really wanted to see what kind of odd imagery and characters and creatures are just going to pop up in this world. I think the concept is pretty unique, at least in its execution. I love how everything in the world incorporates the tar part of centaur. Are there merpeople? No, those are mertars. What are those giant mammals that live in the ocean and eat brine? Well, of course, those are whale tars. The furballs that scratch everything and chase lasers? Cat tars. It's simple and maybe even rudimentary, but that simplicity works really well here. It also allows the creators to tap into their weirdness and just have a lot of fun. The humor that is present works for the most part. Now, not all of the jokes or gags landed for me, but I think there's enough to satisfy just about every age range. I do think the humor may have gotten a little more mature or maybe witty as the episodes went along, or maybe those that resonated with me just stuck out more. The drama surrounding the journey becomes increasingly engaging and dramatic as they progress on their quest. We begin to feel a sense of impending doom, or at least there are some high stakes at play when it comes to getting Horse to where she can return to her world. The introduction of the antagonist is done well, keeping a lot of it a mystery, which then builds more suspense for what else is to come in the show. So overall, this may appear like it's just a little kids show, but if you enjoy very talented singing, combined with exceptional music and lyrics, I think this is going to satisfy you. The randomness may not click with everybody, but it keeps the story and the show progressing at a quick pace. The characters are complex and engaging, and the overall story is written well and in a way that both young and old can connect with portions of the narrative. While I wasn't sure this was going to be for me, I ended up having a lot of fun with the show. I laughed, tapped my feet, and was really invested in the characters, the story, and the songs. There's no sex or nudity, some violence, and while there's not really any profanity, there are innuendos made at times, but those are most likely going to soar right over the littles' heads. I give Season 1 of Centaurworld 4 out of 5 couches. Is this one on your radar to check out? What's an animated show that you love to binge? I still revisit Futurama from time to time, but let me know yours in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.